Well, good morning. Hi, it's Woody speaking. Long time since I've done one of these vlogs. Been back to work. So life has changed a little bit recently, and much for the better, really. So I wanted to talk about what's been going on recently and what I'm doing for the future. As you will know by now, obviously I've got cancer, stage 4 cancer, prostate cancer. I've been thinking a lot lately and doing a lot of research, and obviously a man like myself gets to this stage where everything seems to have settled down, and my doctors are really happy with everything, and I've had the radiation therapy, I've done all that, and I'm at a stage now where I'm on some drugs that kind of keep the cancer down, and in fact are responding really, really well, which is amazing. And modern technology like that is just incredible. Without this stuff, I wouldn't be here. So I wanted to have a chat about stuff that perhaps people don't talk about a lot. And I should imagine everyone with stage 4 cancer goes into some sort of thought about, what can I do about this? Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can do myself? Is there any path I can go down where there's a chance I'll outdo the drugs? The drugs will only last for a certain time. So when you're given these drugs, the doctors kind of made it clear that they won't last forever, but no one knows how long they'll last, and sometimes they will last up to 5 years, and then they don't work anymore. Sometimes they only work for a year. So at the moment I'm in this kind of really good stage where my health is very good, considering I'm very positive, and I'm back to work, like I say, full time. So life is normal, and I'm not living with cancer as such. I'm not for cancer, I'm living with it, but my life is not being run by cancer anymore. Those first 6 months were, pretty much everything that you do in your life is organised around cancer. Now cancer takes the second stage, which is great. So where's the next stage then? Do I just stay on the medicine? Do I just agree that, okay, we'll go on the medicine until it stops working? And by that stage, then maybe another medicine will come along, which is obviously everyone's hope. There's a lot of research going into prostate cancer. I've been doing some money raising for prostate cancer, which I'll talk about a little while later. But there's other stuff that I've read and researched and got really excited about, and gives me hope, which is all anyone can want, really, is some hope, and the hope that you can heal from cancer. And there are many stories, if you search online, about people that have done the impossible, that have been told that they only have a certain amount of time left, and therefore they've gone away, got their affairs in order, prepared themselves to die, and then for some reason they haven't, which is amazing, And now originally, this was, when I started first reading this was supposed to be really, really uncommon. So roughly about 1 in every 100,000 cancer patients would go into a sudden remission, which the odds are pretty poor then. But the more I dug into it, the more research and the more reading, I bought some books, lots of internet research, even into sort of places where I didn't think I could go to research. The more you research, the more doors open up. And as these doors opened up, I started to get quite excited about what I was reading, thinking, wow, this is not a 1 in 100,000 probability. There's, if one person has suddenly healed from prostate cancer, just one, then the possibility is on. Now we can say that for all cancers. If just one has healed from it, then the possibility is on. That means that if one's done it, why can't we all do it? But if only one's done it, we tend to look at that as a miracle, and miracles don't come along that often. And but one person is enough to give hope, because you just think to yourself, yeah, look, one person has survived this, and perhaps it's now my turn. Perhaps it's my turn to survive it. I don't know. Now, miracles tend to happen, I believe, are really, they are perhaps spontaneous. If they do happen, I believe they do. And something to do with the universe that just puts its hand out and says, there you go, you can have a new life, or you can have a reprieve on your life. But the more I started reading about spontaneous remissions and sudden healings, the more I realised that it isn't a 1 in 100,000. There's literally thousands of people. So where does just one person who's a miracle, what happens when you've got thousands of people, thousands of miracles going on? There's billions of people in the world, 7 billion people, I think. Now, the difference between a billion and a million is huge. I know that. But when we're starting talking about thousands of people, then light bulbs are starting to go off in my mind. My head is starting to think, thousands of people have done this. Not just one, not just 10. Thousands of people. And in almost every case, there's not really been anyone that's investigated this any further. So let's say this happened to me. I go to the doctor, says to me, sorry, Woody, I'm afraid you've only got a couple of months at best now. I literally pack my life up, pack my affairs up, go into a hospice or something, and quietly slip away. But what happens if I turn back to the doctor 3 months later and they say, hello, it's Woody, I've just come back for a checkup? And the first thing he's going to think of is, wow, you're back. Then they check up and find that I've got no cancer. Now, in that case, where does that get filed? What happens? What happens to that? Am I investigated? Are they going to take me in and start looking at my blood, or investigating me and finding out what have I done, or what happened, and so on? The answer is no. Not a lot of this happens, but there is some doctors that have maybe had 1 or 2 of these cases and thought, you know what, we need to be looking at the person rather than the disease here. And what is really incredible is that these so-called miraculous healings, these people that have been given a reprieve, and there are thousands of them, when they look into what they've done, when they got, let's say, that final, I don't know, diagnosis, sorry but your time's up, what did they do that makes them so special like that? And this is where it gets really interesting, because in the research that's been done, like I say, it's very limited, and I'm sure it's going to become much, much more important in the future, is those people that got that pardon from whoever, all were doing similar things when they went back to at the end of life. They all had similarities about their ways of being. They all changed themselves in a very similar way. There's many ways they change. There's lots of ways people change, but there was just a core number of things that people did that seems to be echoed in all the spontaneous remissions that were studied. Now that even makes me feel really excited. It makes me take heart, and it should make anyone that's got cancer that's looking at this to stand up, sit up, take notice of this, because it is real. There is something, there is a connection that's happened. Now, I don't want to give anyone false hope. I'm taking it on board myself. I'm going to believe in it. If it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for me. But there are 8 things that people have done, and they're just changes in lifestyle. They're nothing major. They're just sort of changes that people have made. And if I can remember them all, I'll say them all now. If not, I'll come back on another time, and with the full 8. But as far as I remember, most of them, when they've gone back, have accepted the fact that they've got cancer, so they're not fighting it. They've stopped fighting it. They're trying to learn to grow with it more, accepted it's there, and stopped this anger and hatred towards it. So basically, I've even heard stories of people who fell in love with it. They've also gone into a lot of them are very spiritual people who've or become spiritual, so they've started to believe in something, and they've believed in something else, a bit of a higher level, and they've gone into things like meditation and mindfulness, and truly believed in some other possibility of a higher force. And that seems common amongst all of these survivors. They've also, as far as I can see, done radical changes in their diet, and many of them have gone into more natural, plant-based diets. They've literally got rid of all the old junk food that they've been eating, maybe, and gone into more purer ways of eating and living, and instead of consuming processed food, they've got rid of dairy, processed food, and a lot of these foods that are more man-made than natural. Lots of fruits and vegetables and nuts and types of beans and things like that in their diet. I suppose the feeling is if you're changing what you're eating, you're changing your body. Another thing they've all done is for some reason, again, drinking lots and lots of water seems to be a common theme. Copious amounts of water. I think it was 8 glasses a day on average of spring water, not tap water, purified water. And I get that, because we're made of about 75% water, so why would we want to put junk water in us? And that appears to be another one of the changes that they've made. Just thinking back again to the stuff I read, I haven't got any notes in front of me, because this is all I always do these videos off the top of my head, so to speak. But another thing was getting rid of negative emotion, getting people, surrounding themselves with positive people, not negative people. Putting their negative affairs, if you're harbouring negative thoughts about yourself, accept yourself for what you are instead of disliking yourself. I know personally, I probably spent many years of my life not liking myself, my appearance, for one reason or another. It's always bothered me, and that built up emotion is probably in the end what causes cancers. A lot of it will come from that. So becoming more, getting rid of any negative emotion and attracting positive things by being positive. And I think the last one, if that's all, I think I've covered them, is taking charge of themselves. So rather than just being completely led by the doctors, or I'm not saying don't go by what the doctors say, but having more of a say in what treatment you want and what you're going to do. And not become this clone that's got cancer that's treated pretty much the same way as the next person with the same cancer. I've got prostate cancer, let's treat this person, he's got prostate cancer. We're giving them the same things and we see what happens. And they want to be more in charge of themselves and their medications and how they're dealing with it. And the last one, just thought of, is exercise, and doing what you can to keep yourself mobile. And I've always spoke about this in both in my blog and other vlogs I've done, that walking for me has been my go-to, and I feel a bit sad that I haven't done a lot of that recently, because I've been back to work and I haven't really had the time, because working has taken it out on me. But I'm out and about, but my working involves a lot of sitting down. I'm an ambulance instructor. I can't exactly go for long walks during the day. But when I finish the day, I just really want to just lay down, because I'm tired. And the drugs and the cancer has that effect on me. But if you're watching this and you think to yourself, how much exercise am I getting? Am I just laying in bed in all day waiting for the end? Am I just sitting down watching Netflix videos all day? Is there a chance I can just get outside in the garden for some fresh air and walk around the garden a few times? It's all exercise. But many of these survivors, they took on regimes of exercise that were much more intense than they would have done before. They turned to things like cycling, and I think many of them did things like mountain walking and all kinds of things. Things like things you might have on a bucket list, that type of thing. Now, when you look at those examples and you think about the thousands of survivors, and then you think they all had that in common. Every one of them was doing those things. Every one of them. They were doing other things, but every one of them was doing those things. You really got to sit up and take notice of that and think, well, if they've done that, and what if I do that then? And that's what I'm going to do. I think personally that I already am. I tick most of the boxes anyway. I really do. I think I've been I changed my diet ages ago. Perhaps I don't drink enough water. I certainly am going to get more exercise now. I know just how serious that is. I've let my emotions go. I think writing my blog, coming out to the world about it, is a way of releasing emotion, pent up feelings and so on. And I think the other things that I have I do believe in my universe. There is the universe, that whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it God, Allah, Krishna, Buddha. There's, you know, for me that's a name for the same kind of thing. I don't know. I'm not going to be preaching anyone about religion. But what this does is, as I started to read this and started to look at these connections, it started to fill me up. I was soaking in the words coming off the page and off the YouTube videos, and I did a lot of research, believe me, a lot of places to look. I started finding myself being filled up with this kind of inner strength, if you like. I can call it an inner strength because it just gives you that focus and that purpose and that power to say, I'm not going to accept a few more years. I'm not going to accept that. I'm in charge of this now. What I will do, and I will say, is I wouldn't want anyone that's just looked at this video and stopped taking their medication, because this is not my call, and I will keep carrying on my medication. But I'll be doing all the extra stuff to change myself, to change, you know, because I think once you start changing yourself, you change yourself inside out, change the way you think about stuff, change your beliefs, your thoughts and feelings change. And I'm going to use that. I'm going to use these things to proceed along this journey, wherever it takes me. And this is going to be the focus of my videos now. You know, every couple of weeks I'm going to make a video. If you want to come and watch, join me on the journey. Perhaps give me some comments about what you're doing underneath it. I know you can subscribe to it. You can subscribe to my blog. I've done 106 blogs now since this all started, and they're just my thoughts and feelings of my life with cancer. Never realised how good it was to get them onto paper or onto type and share them. It's almost like you're releasing your own emotions and demons and whatever coming out that way. But I'll end this blog now. I don't want to go on forever, but yeah, I'm filled with more hope, more inspiration. My dreams are getting bigger, and perhaps it'll help you too. If you're in my situation, please, yeah, share the video. I don't care who watches it, I don't care where it goes. Share it to the world. Let them know that there are possibilities out there for people like us that just don't want to sit down and die and wait for death. We want to get out there and do it and change the outcome ourselves, not just rely on medication. Okay, thanks for listening, watching, and I'll be back again soon. Take care now.